about stress. What exactly is stress? Stress is when there is little resources available for the high demand. And with mental health issues, no one is excluded. Now, good mental health is expected to allow children as well as young adults develop resilience to cope with whatever life throws at them and help them grow into well-rounded, healthy adults.
So from my side, my perspective on this issue is about mental and physical part of a human being.
Yes.
Okay, they experience pains, and the brain interprets it the same way.
Yes.
The impact and the gravity are just the same. The brain doesn't know the difference.
That's
but
true.
you see how it is very easy for people to empathize with children when they have physical injury, physical pain.
Sure.
Yes. But here, when there are emotional pains, it goes silent. A lot of adolescent children, they go on with silent pains, or sometimes they play it out in offensive and terrible behaviors, and then everybody's complaining. So to buttress my point, and some experts from around the country carried out a survey on mental health in children, and it was alarming how many children are struggling with undiagnosed psychiatric disorder.
Wow.
As well. They noted that 10 years ago, mental health seems to be more stable than it is now. So why the decline? That's our question today. And that's why today we'll be discussing the topic, mental health in children, the challenges and the way forward. And we won't be doing this alone. It's our custom to bring the best brains about these issues.
Sure.
And today we have someone, so I'm excited about her. It's a personality renowned for our work in mental health, especially towards children and family. And then she's brilliant and beautiful. You see for yourself. She studied both abroad and at home. And then she's an author. She has authored books on mental health for children. She's also the CEO for Family Place. She believes that family as the fundamental unit of the society is the greatest agent of change. So I'm talking about no other person but Mimi Salah. Oh, good day. I'm excited to have you, baby.
Hello, baby. How are you doing? Okay, now it's our custom here for the show to always ask of your mental health. So, how is your mental health?
Last time I checked, it was on time.
I like that. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, give us a figure.
About 8.
Wow. In Nigeria, it's not the person. Okay, anyway, right? Yes, it is. Okay, so it's that time that we share with you that video that would thrill us. Yes. Today's story is about a young mother named Dr. Yika and her experiences with children living with special needs. Please let's take a look.
I'm Dr. Olamma Cares. I'm a mother, grandmother. I'm also a service provider of the Children's Developmental Center that works with children with developmental disabilities. The reason why I started the center was 35 years ago. I had my middle child, my son, and he had some sort of behaviors that we couldn't understand at the very early age. And lo and behold, we found out that he had autism spectrum disorder. And though I went to England to go and find out the diagnosis and find out what I could do, but while I was there, I was thinking about, okay, is this it? Is this all I'm going to do with my life? Be stuck in England and look after my son and not be very happy with myself. That Nigeria is where I'm based. Nigeria is a place that I'm my happiest. My husband is there. My other 2 kids are there. Why not go home and start some sort of service that would support my son and other families as well? So that's how CDC came about. Naturally, I'm a crusader. So even if it wasn't disability I was crusading about, I definitely would crusade about something else. But having said that, I remember the day, I think it was mentioned at somebody's kitchen table. I had a friend whose husband was a psychiatrist, and they were living in Liverpool. And I had taken my son and my daughter for a holiday in England, Christmas holiday. It was a sort of reunion with my foster family. And I went up to Liverpool with my son and my daughter. And the following morning, I think her husband had watched my son and seen that, yeah, there's something wrong with him. She brought me this medical textbook, and she shoved it under my nose, and she said, read that. Now, whatever this is what is wrong with your child. And of course, it was autism. At that time, the first thing that came to my mind was, well, it's autism, so what? Maybe it's not. And maybe you got it wrong. Those were my faults. So obviously there was that fight, and usually that's me. I would go into my fight mode. I got into my fight mode and came home. When I got home and I went to the consultants here, they were confused because at that time, this is the 80s, a lot of doctors didn't know about autism. And I said, oh, no, there's nothing wrong. So I went from my fight mode into confusion that, okay, if it's not autism, what is it? This little boy is not doing very well. So I had to plan again and go back to England. And when I went back the second time, we saw a pediatrician. And the first thing he said was that, I believe this is autism, and I believe that he'll be no better than a simpleton. And that hit me because I'm a doctor too. And when you tell a parent that her child will be no better than a simpleton, I started thinking that, what is this guy talking about? Okay. But he hadn't sunk. And my husband was already, he was already up in arms. And I decided that in order to support him, I couldn't break down. So I had to be the strong one and continue. So I told him that, look, I don't understand what simpleton means, but if this is autism, what are we going to do about it? So we went through all the process of knowing what to do about it. It hadn't really sunk in, and I didn't want it to sink in because I had to support my husband. But then we decided that, okay, you know what? Let me go back to England and get the diagnosis again. And not only get the diagnosis, put him in the system so that he could get help. Because there wasn't anything in Nigeria at that time. Now, winding fast forward, I don't get that depressed because I've known how to handle it. I've realized that I have many other families who come to me and the expectations are high. So if I'm down in the dumps all the time, then how am I going to help other people? But I tell people that it's about developing coping skills. I think that's part of my humor. I see a lot of humor in raising a child with developmental disabilities. It doesn't get me down. If Nigeria didn't get me down, this surely is not going to get me down. So that's how I've been dealing with it. I'm Dr. Olamma Cares. I'm a mother, grandmother, service provider of the Children's Developmental Center, and I'm Unbroken.
Views Channel, in partnership with DW, presents the 77%.
This is your platform
where we talk about everything that affects us, the youth.
Let's talk about
depression,
illegal migration and human trafficking. Let's talk about sex.
I don't get it.
Why won't Africans speak openly about this topic?
Jesus.
Seriously.
We make up over 3/4 of Africa, the under 35s.
We are the 77%.
Africa's young generation. It is shaping the continent with innovations, political participation, and new ideas. But the 77% are facing many issues. Join our hosts as they engage you with thought-provoking topics.
We are a community and we help each other.
The 77% showing at 9 p.m. Sunday on Views Channel, Channel 108 on Star Times.
This is the beautiful city of Lagos.
The people are evolving and it has places you can have fun.
It's Man Crush Monday.
Nice to meet ya. Betty Butter.
Inspirational Tuesday.
You know, no desire. And the time I come here, I give them fire.
He's a gentleman.
You deserve a gentleman.
Such a beautiful song.
Why I think I love you, but I don't really know you that well.
That's why my heart is a beat like do.
I don't find Bessie to marry. Juice got be.
My God, I still love that song.
All right, it's Throwback Thursday.
I'm throwing it back to. It's just one of the songs I really like about the band.
Sit back down with your man.
It's a TGIF. Oh shit.
My Friday song will be.
What a beautiful people. How you're doing? It is Time Capsule.
Now they're more curious, see me that you.
Why me now? Levels done change now. They no fees hold me again. Now I'm 10 over 10.
It's all about beautiful throwback songs from your favorite artists that would definitely bring you sweet and amazing memories. Oh my God, this was the best thing when the code gets to me in the year 2009. Now born, the maga.
Mental health in children. Yeah, it's a big one because there are a lot of issues underneath it. It can go that way we've gone, and it can go generally on children, even the atypical children.
Yes.
So I want to ask, Benny, that what is the picture of a mentally ill child and the concept of mental health in children generally? Can you speak to that for us?
Okay. Mental health in children simply describes being able to attain developmental and emotional milestones in time, learning healthy social skills, and being able to cope whenever problems come. Because like you rightly said, children also have their issues that they go through.
Yes, they do.
And it's important that whatever form of stress that they experience, they're able to cope effectively.
That's true.
So a mentally healthy child is one who has achieved these developmental milestones, can relate with their peers and even adults effectively, So at play, at home, at school, this child functions properly, and they're having no issues learning or being able to take in whatever they're taught at school. So that's basically what describes mental health in children.
Wow, nice. That means I was actually a mental healthy child.
In your mind, we ask your teacher.
I think we should do.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings me to another question. Because that's actually it's explanatory.
That's true.
Explanatory. So if anybody has a mentally healthy child at home, they know, and if they have to see an expert,
They need to
they
go
know
to.
now.
That's true.
What Benny has said. So I want to ask the question. There's this belief outside that ill health, or ill mental health, is caused by bad parenting. What are the causes of challenges in mental health of children, and at the same time, what are the symptoms to look out for?
Okay, there are various causes of mental health issues in children. Some that cannot be, you can't pinpoint exactly what the cause is. But overall, we could look at heredity. We could look at psychological trauma. We could look at environmental stress, as well as biological. When we say biological, it could be as a result of an abnormal development of some area of the brain that controls emotions, thoughts, and behaviors of the child in general. For heredity, there are some mental health challenges that are passed from parent to child. Some people have depression running through their family line and things like that. And even with regards to biology as well, it could be as a result of an imbalance or some chemical imbalance still in the brain as well. And when we're talking psychological trauma, we have a child that has been repeatedly exposed to abuse, be it sexual, physical, but even neglect. Such a child may develop a mental health disorder. That's why you find some children, particularly those who experience repeated sexual abuse, they develop this dissociative disorder where they form another personality, and that's supposed to be like a coping mechanism for that child. So that's the person that part of them that they run to when they are faced with this traumatic situation, and unfortunately, if not detected on time, the person grows up. And that's what we used to call multiple personality disorder initially, but now it's dissociative personality disorder. Then environmental stressors. Maybe the parents are constantly arguing, so the home is like a toxic environment. Or are they going through a divorce? It has a way of affecting children. So there are quite a number of things. It just depends on the unique case of the child in question. And then talking about possible symptoms that may get parents asking questions. Is your child finding it difficult to learn? At school, grasping, it's difficult. Maybe you want to start asking questions. What's going on? Could this be something biological, or is it something going on around in the environment? A child who finds it difficult to play with others, maybe it's either withdrawn, doesn't know how to associate with their peers, or is excessively aggressive. Now, the truth is there are times that children experience occasions of fear, anxiety, which is normal, and sometimes even disruptive behaviors. These are the throw tantrums. That's what children
for every
Yeah, but when it's excessive and it gets in the way of the child being able to get through in a day, then the parents or the guardians may begin to start asking questions. Do I need to seek help? Do I need to look further? So these are possible signs that there might be a mental health challenge.
So it's not only just spiritual. It's more physical and mental.
Again,
all right.
So I believe as well that bad parenting, toxic environment, it cannot be the sole.
There are various factors.
Nice one. All right, the phone lines are up. 0706-318-3892 is the number to call to reach us here on the show. Ask your questions, make your contributions. We want to hear about it. Don't forget also we have our social media platforms available at Views Channel 108 on Twitter and Instagram. Also Views Channel on Facebook and YouTube. For me, you just saw the story of Dr. Yinka and the way she was giving us own side of the story of having a child battling with autism. Now, how do we know that parents who go through this stuff go through certain situations that we cannot describe. Now, in that aspect, how do you, as based on your expertise as well as a psychologist, should parents cope with burning out and even not going over to post-traumatic stress in handling this situation?
Okay, I love the question because I know that it will liberate a lot of parents out there. Yes. Basically, what I'm going to say about that question is, we know you love your children. You know, the love of a mother cannot be snatched away.
That's
Cannot
all.
be overemphasized or underemphasized. It's very important. And we know that, like Dr. Yinka has shown to us, it could be overwhelming taking care of children with mental challenges. But now, this is what I want to say. You cannot give what you do not have. No matter how we love our children, no matter what the condition they have, it's good to know that self-care is your number one priority. Because if you're not fine, you cannot give anything good to the child. So whatever you do in whatever you do, however you go about your child, no matter how you want to show the love, know that you have to take care of your own self, your own mental health is very important. Number two thing I'm going to say for brevity of time is that have a good support system around yourself so you can take respect care. Sometimes you can make people stay. The father can stay, the mother can stay, the cousin can stay. You two take time out and rest. And the last thing I'm going to say on this is that have a supportive, trustworthy, therapeutic team. So it's not what you do. Whenever mental challenge is denoted or is noted in a child, it's good to know that it's a case of an expert. We can't just manage it in the home. Maybe it will be fine later. No. So it's good to have a team that supports you, a team that believes in what you're doing, can give you feedback, they can train you and how to go about it. So don't forget the 3 points. Take good care of yourself. Have a support system that works around you, and have a team, expert team that will help you come out.
Thank you for me for more. All right, we just saw two situations here. We have mental health issues in children, and we have neurodevelopmental issues. I'd like to ask, are they the same, or are they different? Now, how should people cope with them? I'm not talking about only parents alone, I'm talking about society, because my mom said that when the child is in the stomach, mothers or when the child is born, it's everybody's responsibility. So in that regard, how should they cope with these two situations?
Okay, neurodevelopmental disorders in children actually are one of the categories of mental health disorders in children. So you have those, you have the mood disorders, and then you have the behavior disruptive disorders. So if we're going to go by diagnosis and all of that, neurodevelopmental disorders are mental health disorders as well. Just that these particular set of disorders are associated with the functioning of the brain or the central nervous system. And it typically affects how a child learns or areas that control emotions, self-control, and memory in a child. So it's more brain related as to other aspects of mental health challenges where it could be just behavioral as opposed to having something to do with the brain. So, and then to answer the question about how people around should, cope with them, we should be more accepting and as much as possible avoid using all this. Okay, I'll give you examples of neurodevelopmental disorders. So you have like Dr. Yinka mentioned, the autism spectrum is under that umbrella. You have those with learning disabilities, those with intellectual disabilities, those with communication disabilities, or motor disabilities like the tic and Tourette syndrome. These all fall under neurodevelopmental. And there's this thing, especially with those of us around here, we have a way of looking at people who seem to behave or look different from us. Sometimes even looking at them as if it's contagious.
That's true.
So we need to be more accepting and don't make them feel like there's something wrong with them. The way that we relate with them like you would relate with any other person around you. And for the parents in particular, I think it's important for them not to be in denial. Because that's another thing. You've noticed that your child isn't developing regularly and there are signs, or you're just in denial that my child is okay, she's just 4 and she can't talk, she's a child. And the child's speech is it's not clear, you can't pick anything up. Those are some indications that there might be something wrong. So don't be in denial, and it's not a bad thing. It's not your fault that it happened the way that it happened. So I would just say let's be accepting of everyone and relate with them as we would want to be related with. So treat others as you would want to be treated. treated, irrespective of what's going on with that person.
Okay, and I also want to ask this. I think when I was growing up, I was in a school where we had this kind of set of people. Now, this particular kid, he would come. I don't know if he was actually playing or was using the teacher's intelligence. Now, he would just come and they, according to what I got to understand, the child actually has a disorder. I think a learning disorder. Okay. But I feel also the child is using that disorder to manipulate, so that it doesn't anything coming learning. Yes, because they're trying to give. I think they employed this learning disability teachers who can help with children having this disability, and he actually made her life terrible. Now, in this situation, how do we, talking to teachers now? Okay. This is school set. This school is on. How should they cope with people living with or children now? Children going through mental health issues in regard to learning disability.
It's important that schools begin to factor this into their style or whatever, because the teachers are not trained to work with the children. So if they have like an assistant or someone that could help the teacher focus on that particular student, someone who is actually trained and knows how it is to help with the child to manage their behaviors and all of that, so that they're not distracting the other students while they're learning. Yeah. So I mean, except a teacher goes out of his or her way to learn or take courses on how to relate with children with learning disabilities, it's important that the school puts something in place to ensure that there's someone who is there. But at the same time, the teachers also need to be accommodating. Try and see what you can do, like the issue of dyslexia, and some they find it easier to type because when they write they jumble up their words. And that kind of a student, okay, type. You don't have to be everybody's writing, so you must write. So anything you're doing, learn to accommodate. For the child who can't sit 2-3 minutes on a chair, it's okay if you have this big bouncing balls that we use for exercise. Let that be the child's chair. So even if the child is on the spot bouncing, at least the child is learning rather than getting up and disrupting other children. So just, the teachers need, that's the word. So they should learn, get information, and see how they can adapt to accommodate these children.
That's actually so much. Okay, we have learned so much about mental health in children, the challenges, and the way forward. So right now we go on a short break, but when we return, we'll continue this conversation on the show Unbroken. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. It's still the show Unbroken. We discuss everything mental health, and today's topic is mental health in children, the challenges and the way forward. And we have Bemi helping us talking about a whole lot of things and how we can actually have a good, well-grounded mental children in our society today. All right, Bemi. Now we need to ask this question. I know.
Joy.
Yes.
I think our number should be helpful. People to call in.
Oh yes, thank you. See why I love my co-host. Okay, the phone numbers are still up. 0706 318 3892 is the number to call and get your phones, your tabs, everything. Got all social media platforms at Views Channel 108 on Twitter and Instagram, Views Channel on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you for me for that kind reminder. All right. And I need to ask this question. A lot of parents are more spiritually inclined than physically inclined. I think it's I don't know which generation to place it. Is it the Z or the Y or the...
That thing gets me confused. The X.
All right. Let me ask, how should we explain this to our parents that, well, let me put it this way. Children living with mental health issues, is that the end for them? Is that the final bus stop? Or what is the way forward?
It's definitely not the final bus stop. I mean, just as the way we have physical health challenges and we go to the medical doctor and they help us to manage it, it's not every condition that's terminal. They give us medication, let us know what we need to do. The same thing with mental health issues as well. so they can be managed. Some, yes, maybe the child or the parents will just have to learn to cope for all their lives.
Yeah.
Or some other issues, like say for instance, depression that is as a result of something that happened. Once you're able to handle the root cause, it's possible that that child comes out of the depression. So having a mental health challenge as a child, that's not the end. They can be managed and they can, you can cope with it. It's just reaching out and getting the most effective treatment. So would it require medication? Because there's some that may require medication. Depending on the age of the child, we have what we call play therapy, where the child uses toys to help walk through whatever emotional distress that they're experiencing. So as opposed to having an adult in therapy and you're having a conversation with the children, the toys are more like those are their words. So whatever kind of play, for a child won't even talk to you about what's going on. Just watching, the way the child is going, the toys that they pick and that can give you an idea of what's going on in the child's world. So you have that. You have, for those on the autism spectrum disorder, you have what we call applied behavior and analysis. That help to, manage their behaviors and all of that. So parents will be brought on board and, taught how to go about it. So you have behavior modification techniques. It all depends on what mental health challenge the child presents with. No child that has been diagnosed with one mental health illness or the other is, a lost cause. It can be managed and it can be treated.
Absolutely.
Wow, awesome. Now, this question I need to ask because I have this child who just talks to herself. For some reasons I really do not know, but she enjoys talking to herself, and she smiles and she's happy. Whenever she sees this outcome, she withdraws. So, will you classify that also as someone or a child going through mental issues? And in the other regard, there's this. I think we've come to understand that trauma survivors actually do have nightmares. Now, how do they cope with for children? How should they cope with nightmares? And how should their parents also cope with nightmares? Now, we grow in a society where anything to think, hey, go to your room, get out, all this kind of stuff. So how should we cope with it so that everything is inclusive and we actually grow children that are mentally healthy?
I think for the child, how old is she?
She should be 4 thereabout.
And has she always been that way, or is it like a recent development?
She's always been that way. Since I've known her.
Okay. And she's not friendly with adults?
She is, but she prefers to be on her own.
It may or it may not be. I mean, I know that I had imaginary friends as well at that age.
Ooh, what's the name?
I can't remember anymore because so it may be, it may not be.
I thought that's well.
So we didn't have imaginary friends.
Never. It was a strange idea. You both people could have. Before you say you are a banji.
That's true. That's so true.
Is she an only child?
No, she has some siblings for her.
So it may not be. We don't want to just make something huge out of nothing. But the parents should just keep watching and see. Maybe even when she grows older and she still doesn't. But when she's in the midst of other children, does she play or she?
Yes, she does. But she does. She loves this. Herself.
Again, let me chip in. I have a case of a boy too. She has 2 sisters, and he had 2 sisters. He has 2 sisters, and he has an imaginary friend. So he talks and talks and talks. So the sister then complained that what happened to this boy now? He's talking to. So he told the mommy. The mommy now went to her and said, "What's your problem? What's it? Not mention." He said it's another sister that she has. That she's nicer than this 2.
Wow.
That this 2 can beat her, but that one never beat her. She's really nice. So sometimes it could be in their own little mind. It's a sort of defense mechanism, coping mechanisms. Like what I can't get in people, let me
just create
a personality that would give me that. So like I have everything I need. I have everything I need in this person. So if it's like the imaginary, that could be the cause for it. But like I said, it may not be. They have to really delve into what the problem is and address it appropriately.
That's actually nice because for a split second I had to ask myself, because I know I talk to myself too, and I don't have mental issues.
Yeah, we would advise that we do some self-talk. It's very necessary.
Lisa, in Nigeria here, talking on the road.
Very on the road.
Okay, now we still need to ask this question because today is all about children. I think May is all about children, right? Yes. So it's all about children, and we want to grow children that actually healthy mental-wise. Now, for parents, I'm just asking parents because parents are like their guardians, and in a way, how should the new generation? Well, is what new generation? Because I think these are parents who are still that's our mother's circle. Now, how should they really respond to children who are like they can't really see in terms of I don't know how to actually explain it. Like they can see things, but they can't see things. Now, there's this stuff I watched, and I shared it with you, for me, a while back, about a child who has so many friends, this same friends issue, but she sees them, she talks to them, and she hears them. And at that point, even when Oprah was trying to interview and trying to get a response, she was all, no, leave me alone. He's going out, he's going out, he's going out, going out. Now, for the parents, to them, they have spent their money, they've spent their resources, they've spent everything. Now, how, I'm bringing to Nigeria to know, because Nigerians are very, very peculiar people. Now, in that situation, how should we advise people that we stop calling our children to okay? Because okay has become part of us. How should we actually advise them? Because like I said, there are a lot of disabilities, a lot of schizophrenia. Please help me out here. You know you're the expert here. Now, the schizophrenia kind of thing, I think it's linked to what I'm trying to say, right? Okay. Where people actually have, yes. So now, in Nigeria, how should we marry both spirituality as well as identifying the situation in hand? How do we marry them?
I think it's just keep on putting the awareness out there. There's nothing more that we can do than that. Keep letting and helping them identify, especially well, I would say all religions practically, because I know yes, either we go to our pastor or to the imam, but just helping them understand that it's okay to also seek professional help besides seeking from your priest, your pastor, or whoever. Like I always tell people that mental health is the health status of your mind. Basically, that's what it is. Yeah. So if you go and see a physical doctor when you feel your knee is swollen, there's a pain. If you take your child, that's the same thing when you start noticing that your child is seeing things or is exhibiting some unusual behavior. It's okay to go and see a mental health professional. It doesn't mean that you trust God any less. It doesn't mean that you're any less of a Christian or a Muslim or whatever it is. That's right. You know, you're just making sure that you're doing all that you can to ensure that everything is well with you and your child.
Thank you very much, Fumi. Thank you so much, Fumi. That has really been insightful. So right now, we've got a short break. Oh, so sorry.
Views channel, in partnership with DW, presents the 77%.
This is your platform
where we talk about everything that affects us, the youth.
Let's talk about
Depression,
illegal migration and human trafficking. Let's talk about sex.
I don't get it.
Why won't Africans speak openly about this topic?
Jesus.
Seriously.
We make up over 3/4 of Africa, the under 35s.
We are the 77%.
Africa's young generation. It is shaping the continent with innovations, political participation, and and new ideas. But the 77% are facing many issues. Join our hosts as they engage you with thought-provoking topics.
We are a community and we help each other.
The 77% showing at 9 p.m. Sunday on Views Channel, Channel 108 on Star Times.
Wow, it's exciting to be here one more time. This is a place and this is a time whereby I share with you tips by which you can actually put into action whatever we're discussing on the show. So this evening, I'll be sharing with parents on tips to manage children with mental challenges. So I hope you're ready for me. I need you to write something down because I'm very sure you may not feel like writing now, but it will come in sometimes when you need it the most. So let's kick it up. Number one tip I want to share with you today is that, okay, before I share my tips, let me say this to you. Whatever the issue is, you have to understand that the experts are very important at this moment. When a problem is noticed, let's walk up. Let's do what it takes to make sure it is x-rayed with an expert eye. So we won't be making mistakes. We won't be leaving any stone unturned. So let's say therapy is in place, medication is in place as the situation is required. Now let's talk about what you are to do to make sure you are coping or you are responding rightly to the situation as a whole. So the number one tip I want to share with you today is that learn about the challenge. Whatever they say the challenge is it depression, is it anxiety disorder, is it mood, whatever they call it. Read up, learn. Ignorance can help here. You have to know the peak of the challenge that could come your way and the least that you should expect. When you are aware, it helps you to propel yourself in a way that you will do the child good and you will do yourself good. You will not be at the edge at all the time. You will not be under tension all the time. So read up, learn. This is your call now. It's time to learn. This is when they say knowledge is power. So let's move it. Tip number 2 says, consider family therapy. Everybody in the family has to be on the same page so that we can have a unanimous effort towards whatever the challenge is. You can't say come up and daddy say go down and then the child is confused. Everybody has to be on the same page. So to do this, we encourage that you open your home to family therapy. So everybody can tell you what they feel about the situation, what they know about the situation, and then the experts in the house can help us learn what we need to learn and how we need to respond. So I think it's a good place, it's a good time to bring in family therapy to the house to help the situation or whatever situation our child or whoever is going through in the family. Tip number 3 says, take care of your own mental health. I've said it somewhere in the course of the program that you can't give what you do not have. That you are going to work on your own mental health. You will show yourself as a model even to that child, because our children learn how to handle stress from us. So if you are agitated, if you are not composed, if you are not together, you don't have a system of taking care, your children are sure learning it. And then you too, you will not be able to handle the situation the way you should. So have a system in place whereby you take out time to rest, you eat well, you do your exercises, you yourself go for therapy because you have to be in good shape so you can help the child properly. So another tip I'm going to share with you today is seek ways to have fun with your child. That's the way to build trust. Children are not adults. You can't discuss the same. The discussion of importance to you may not be the discussion of importance to the child. And the language that children cannot fail to understand is play. So have a time whereby every child in the house can know that, okay, Tuesday, 10 o'clock, 10 to 10:30 is my time with daddy. Wednesday, 5 o'clock in the evening is my time with mommy. It gives them sense of importance. It makes them to trust you the more. Take a walk together, play volleyball together. Not everybody on the phone all the time. They are glued to the screen, you are glued to your phone, and people are not knowing each other. This is the time to build trust. You know, when children are gone, parents will say, they don't talk to me. This is the time to talk. This is the time to play. This is the time to engage them in talking. Last but not the least on this session says, Work with your child's school, your child's therapist, your child's friend. Carry them along and get information from them so that you can incorporate into what you do at home. Don't do scattered system. Let everything be integrated. So when when the therapists come in, let them give you reports that you can incorporate and you can build on. When you take him or her to school, let them know what she's fighting with. Don't say, this Obanje boy, let him just stay in the corner. So they will know, everybody will be on the same page and we'll work together for the progress of the child. I hope you've learned one or two things. And at this point, I want to say to you, if you are in need of any mental health assistance, you can reach out to us at Olamma Cares Foundation. You can send an email to support@olammacares.com. And you can, at Olamma Cares, all our social media platforms, you can reach out to us. And sure, I know you will not regret it. You'll be better for it. So, before I come your way again, next time on this segment, remember, I always say this. Your mental health is your responsibility.
Thank you so much for those tips. Indeed, our parents should be our friends, and if they're not our friends, it becomes a huge problem. Okay, so Baby actually has something really, really cute here. Yes, she does. Okay, so aside the fact that she's actually gorgeous and she's like a child expert, she's also an author of an amazing book, and it's titled "Keeping It Together in a Crazy and Uncertain World."
Wow.
So, Baby, tell us this about your book.
Okay, so the book is in 3 series.
Yes.
You have the one for ages 2 to 6, ages 7 to 12.
Okay.
So this is 2 to 6.
Yeah,
That's
7 to 12.
And this is for 13 years and above.
Okay.
So even teenagers and adults can use this. So basically what the books do is to help us build our mental health. Helps to build resilience. The children here learn what they can do when they're sad, when they're angry, when they're afraid, and it's worried. Yeah, those are the 4 emotions that are dealt with in this book. So they learn different things that they can do. That one as well talks to children ages 7 to 12, different coping mechanisms for building positive mental health and resilience as well. This one, the bulk is like because it's for more advanced teenagers and adults. It actually has 30 different strategies that you can adopt.
Wow.
And the way this is built, there's a short chapter. Afterwards, you have a to-do list and a journal.
Wow.
So, for instance, the first coping mechanism here is gratitude. So there's a short explanation of how gratitude helps us with our mental health.
Yes.
Then there's a to-do list to practice what you have learned, and then you get to journal your experience at the end of it all. The idea of having all 30 of them is everything may not resonate with everyone.
That's true.
But you'll find at least 2, 3, 4, 5
that works with you.
Yes, and then you can keep using them because our world is indeed very, very crazy.
Very crazy and uncertain.
Yes. So that's basically what the books
are. So where can we get it for parents who want to actually get it?
They're available in MedPlus stores in Lagos.
Okay.
Yeah, so even if you visit a MedPlus store and they don't have it there, you can always request for it.
Okay.
Robin Heights Bookstore in Silvere, and also online. You can order from Robin Heights online as well.
Okay.
Latana Bookstore has just this one.
Okay.
It's on Amazon as well for those who might want to purchase from outside the country.
Okay.
It's also on Okada Books. It's on, where else do I have?
Like major bookstores around.
And then there's the Bookworm Cafe on Instagram as well. So, yeah, and you can also order directly from me on Instagram.
Yes, come to the boss. Okay, nice. So,
wow.
The last word. What's the last word for our viewers?
This is a great work.
Thank you.
Well done. Well
Thank you
done.
very much.
Well
I'm just going to say, just like Fumi said, that your mental health is your responsibility. And since we're talking children, for parents, you have to help them develop positive mental health. Don't let us be dismissive of children. Children too have their stresses, they have their issues that they're going through. Somehow we just believe that children will always adapt, they will always catch up, but that's not the truth. They're humans, do little, but they have their issues as well. So you need to help them navigate their way through life and be able to come out of challenges strong. And that's why we need to run it.
Nice publicity. All right, guys, we've come to the end of today's show. It has been really insightful, really educative, and mentally drilling. I love it so much. Thank you, Mimi, for being there. Thank you for all you just said. All
You're
you
soft
do.
spoken, but you are really, digging deep.
Digging. And so thank you very much for staying tuned on the show. We really love your presence and we love everything you guys do out there. Don't forget that this show continues across our social media platforms at Views Channel 108 on Twitter and Instagram. Also Views Channel on Facebook and YouTube.
So it's like we shouldn't go. We should keep on talking because there are issues, and forever there will be issues. So I want to say once again that we're here to create awareness and to lend support anywhere possible.
That's true.
So from us at Olamma Cares Foundation, we're saying that if you are in need of any mental health support, you can reach out to us at no cost. You are going to be attended to. So send an email if you have to, support@olammacares.com. And you can reach out to us across all our social media platforms at Olamma Cares.
At Olamma Cares. Until we come your way next time, I remain your host, Joy.
And I'm
And remember, you are unbroken. Bye.